This is our beginner class. We're going to hit it. We're going to start really easy. And then we're just going to kind of add on to it. So we're going to start with a single planet, and then we're just going to continuously add on to it painting after painting to get these techniques down. If you're an absolute beginner, you've never used spray paint before, this is the class. I'm actually probably going to move you guys down a bit. There may be some turbulence, but I want to get you guys as close as possible. Here we go. That looks pretty good, right? All right. So a couple of things before we get started. I would like to talk about safety. Once again, I know some people get upset with me when I don't, but seriously, you just should definitely pick yourself up a paint respirator if this is like your second or third time here. You should also get some disposable gloves. Obviously, that's personal preference, but when it comes to the respirator, only brand I'll ever recommend is 3M. I've tried some of the other brands, they just don't hold up as well. If you don't have anything, just paint outside at the very least. So just go outside, paint outside, because this shit is bad for you. So, all right. And one final thing, I just realized that I have subscribers on here, which when I first started doing these classes, I didn't really think people would actually spend money on it or give me money. So Mars Wagner and Jamesy76, thank you for subscribing. Just wanted to give you guys a quick shout out. And now, let us begin. I'm painting on a glossy poster board today. Go ahead and grab your planet stencil. These are just plates, these are bowls. This is just whatever you can find, okay? So look in your kitchen, see if there's just something you don't mind throwing away, or go to Walmart. You can get some for like 50 cents each. We're going to go ahead and place this down. Now we're going to take some dark spray paint. Any darker color will work. I'm just going to use black, and we're going to outline it real quick, just like that. This is to make sure that we don't use too little paint or too much. Now let's do the classic technique here. Give me some colors. I need some colors. Let's do the classic technique. All right, I see green. I see blue. And I see pink. All right, so those are great. 3 colors right there. So let's grab that pink, which is, I believe, this, and let's grab a blue. Now, the best way to do this, in my opinion, for this classic technique is lighter to darker, okay? And it doesn't really matter what colors that you guys pick. Now, this pink is definitely our lightest. So we're going to start with that. I think we need a new cab. Just try your best. I just think it'll give you the best results. It doesn't really matter too much, though, if you're struggling to try to figure out what's lighter to darker. But go ahead and just fill in this entire circle here. And now I think the blue will be our next. We're just going to go ahead and top that pink. And then I think our darkest is the green here. Hello, Sharky. So let's go ahead and top that green. And then I like to go ahead and top it off with either black, white, or both. So I'm going to do both, right? So I'm just going to do half black, half white. Just top it off with some black. Top it off with some white. Alright, and this is the most important thing when you do this art. Glossy clear coat, right? This is going to help keep that paint wet. If it's really hot out, your paint's going to dry really fast, you're going to have to use a lot of this. Let's go ahead and just spray that down, make sure that this paint is still wet. Now I want you to go ahead and you can grab a plastic bag, you can grab magazine pages, you can grab newspaper, right? This is a phone book page. From something, got delivered to my driveway. It's a newspaper-like material. It's perfect. But I want you to go ahead and crumple it up to get all of those wrinkles in it. Plastic bags usually kind of already have them, just from being used. But I want you to place it down, just kind of swipe it, and then lift, right? Swipe, and then lift. I'm going to flip it over. We're just going to kind of swipe, and then lift, right? And we're seeing all of those colors come through. We're seeing that blue. We're seeing some of that green. We're seeing some of that pink. It's looking really good. So let me go ahead and get another page. Just going to crumple it up. And this is just the classic technique. This is nothing crazy. You don't need to put too much pressure down. But then we're going to go ahead and lift, just like that. So that looks really solid. Those colors actually worked really well together. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our shading and our highlighting. I'm going to move this out of the way real quick. When it comes to our shading and our highlighting, obviously we're going to use black, and obviously we're going to use white. Those are just the easiest ones to go with. Now, if you hold your can too close, it's really solid, right? We have that solid, thick, really perfect line. We don't want that. So pull your can back, right? So you get that cloudy, kind of faded look. And you're going to do this for both the white and the black here. And they're just smiley faces. They're going to be smiley faces on each side. All right, so we have our white and smiley face motions. That's it. And then we're just going to kind of slowly work our way into the planet. That's all this is. It's nothing crazy. So I'm just going to say our shading is going to be on the bottom here. So let's go ahead and grab our black. We're going to find our distance. Okay, mess around with it because every brand is going to be different. And we're just going to make smiley faces and kind of work our way in ever so slowly. You don't need to do too much. Now let's go ahead and flip her around. And let's do the highlighting on the other side. Remember, just smiley face motions. Let the overspray do most of the work, right? We're just going to spray on the outside of our planet, just like that, with the white smiley face motion, and now we're good. Now, if you want the best results at this point, it's best to let it dry, okay? However, due to this being live, and us obviously being impatient, we're not going to do that. All right? So let's go ahead and grab our stencil. Remember, this is just a plate. And we're going to go ahead and place this down. Make sure to catch some of that white. Make sure to catch some of that black. And just place it down. And you want to make sure that it's completely down. Make sure there's no gaps or anything like that. If you have to weigh it down, then you can go ahead and weigh it down with like a spray paint can or whatever. But now we're going to take our black and let's go ahead and just fill this in. Fill in our entire poster here. Make sure to get around that stencil really nice. Spray right around it. Now you don't need to use too much paint, right? That's the number one mistake that I see with people is they're using so much paint that when they lift this stencil, the black basically just pours into their planet. And all those crisp lines disappear. So seriously, you don't need to use too much. Take it easy. Take it easy. Yeah, the colors were definitely great. And we can actually add colors to our space scene here. So let's go ahead and get, I want some more colors in here. They don't have to be the same ones that we used. Let's get some more. I see yellow. Let's go ahead and grab yellow. I see blue. Those are perfect colors right there. How about we use a darker blue? And I see purple. Okay, everyone's for purple. Alright, so there we go. We have 3 colors. Actually, I think that purple and my dark blue kind of look alike. So let's go. Alright. Find our distance here. I think my purple is my darkest. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my darkest color and I'm just going to add little pockets to the corners of the page up there. Right? I'm pulling this back. Right? I don't want this to be too strong. I want this to just kind of be a nice touch of color. And let's go down here as well. Just hit the corners and add some purple. That's really nice. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing with the blue. Remember, we're just going to pull it back. Let's go ahead and add some blue. We just want to add little touches. Now, if you think you did too much, I think there's a lot of color right here. It's a bit too much for me. Just grab your black again, okay, and pull it back and add some little pockets of black. Eat away at that color. All right, don't think that you messed it up forever. And then finally, we have our yellow, which is our lightest color here, which is why I'm going to basically just hit the stencil, right? We're going to go right around the stencil here. Once again, we're holding the can pretty far away, just adding those little pockets of color. Alright, and I think once again it's a bit too dark, so I'm just going to add little pockets of black, or I think it's a bit too bright, my bad. There we go, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and add our stars. If you have, I've been meaning to pick this up and I haven't. If you got money to spend, you can go ahead and get something called Holographic Glitter by Montana. Fantastic stuff, okay? It looks so good for like a starry type of sky thing, but we don't have that. Okay, so let's go ahead and just grab white. I'm using Hardcore. That's my preferred brand, although it doesn't matter that much. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab our white. We're just going to spray onto the finger like this. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Okay, if not, just make sure to wash your hands right after you're done, okay? We're going to flick to the side a bunch of times. Get those big nasty blobs off, okay? We don't want that on our painting. So we spray here on the finger. We flick 1, 2, maybe 3 times. Depends on how runny your paint is. And then we're going to flick onto our painting like that. And we get all of those really nice specks. And those are going to be our stars. Alright, so let's go ahead and add some more. White on the finger, flick. I'm going to flick 3 times to the side. And then flick onto your painting. So this is looking really good so far, right? We're starting with, like I said, we're going to start with the bare basics. And the next painting we're going to add on to this, right? Because this is easy stuff, right? This is the the absolute classic, like easiest spray painting technique that there is. So let's go ahead and lift that up, and it does look pretty good. However, because we didn't let it dry, we have a little bit of the Ring of Doom. Right, and the Ring of Doom is basically, if you don't let the paint dry before you place your stencil, it's going to lift up some paint and leave a mark. So we do have some of that. And we also have a bit of a gap, which just comes natural with some of the stencils sometimes. There's a way to fix this, and I will show it to you. Go ahead and grab some poster board that has a flat edge, right? I just ripped off a piece. It has a flat edge like so. And what we're going to do, I'm actually going to rip this off again. I want it to be a bit smaller so it's comfortable to hold in the hand, like that. Alright? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our white, and the whole idea here is we're going to spray the white onto this tool. We're not going to spray onto the painting, we're going to spray onto the tool. And we're going to hover. We're going to hover maybe just a centimeter or two right above our painting, and we're going to curve this so it aligns with the curvature, the curve of the planet. Right? So that looks pretty good right there, and we're going to spray that white on that tool, and it's going to add a nice glow, it's going to add a nice highlight, and on top of that cover up any imperfections or gaps or rings that we see. All right, and we're just going to rotate all around so we see that little, you can see those little marks there a little bit, but let's go ahead and add that glow right over it. And you can't really see it anymore. And I usually stop at the shading, right? I don't go around the whole planet. Right? We stop at the shading, add that nice glow. It's basically coming off the page. It looks really good. Really, really good. So there we go. That is our first painting. And once we're done, we always seal it up with some clear coat. Right? Just gloss clear if you guys want to screenshot what I'm using. You can get this on Amazon. You can get it at Walmart, Home Depot, whatever it is. Right? Krylon has their own brand. They basically do the same exact thing. We're just going to give it one final layer. Try to make it as even as possible. And I'm going to spray just a little bit more in the corner to re-wet that paint there to sign my name. Alright, I'm just using an angled palette knife. You can use anything sharp basically to just kind of scrape your name in there or your signature. I like to put the year and a nice squiggle. So there we go. We've learned it. We've learned the most common, the easiest spray painting thing, spray painting planet technique that there is to learn. There are other techniques for planets, and we are going to learn some others today. But we've got the basics down. So now let's go ahead and add stuff, right? Let's grab another poster, and let's go ahead and add a galaxy, like an actual textured galaxy. Now for those of you who are confused as to what I'm using, I'm just using glossy poster board. If you're outside the US, I've heard the word cardstock thrown around. I've heard the word photo paper thrown around. It's just like a heavyweight paper that has a glossy kind of side to it. The only things I ever look for, I get this brand specifically from Hobby Lobby, but the only things I ever look for is if it says anything about acid or being uncoated or coated, I just want it to say acid free and I want it to say uncoated. If it doesn't say anything about those things, that's usually a good sign, but you should, you know, maybe open up the pack and just feel and make sure it has that glossy side to it. You can get them at the Dollar Tree, but it's cheaper to buy them at Hobby Lobby. I get 10 posters for $2, right? Walmart also has a pack, I think, of like 12 for $2 or $3 as well. Alright, and I just want to make sure that glossy side is up. I believe that is it. Now let's go ahead and just tape it down. I like to tape down my posters just so they don't move about. Alright, so I'm just going to roll up this tape, stick it on the bottom of my cardboard, and I use cardboard so that my paintings don't stick to the table. Right, because as we make a bunch of paintings, our table's going to get really sticky, and the poster can stick to it. That's why I use the cardboard. Alright. Now let's go ahead and grab another planet stencil. Let's learn a swiping technique, right? So let's go ahead and do a galaxy thing as well. I'm going to say I want this planet to be off the page a little bit, so how about we pick like right here? I think that's a pretty cool spot to have a planet, right? Hello, hello. I say squiggle at the end of every painting. Alright, so once again, place your planet wherever you want. Now go ahead and outline it. Just grab some sort of darker paint so we can see exactly where this paint needs to go. Alright. Now I need some colors, alright? We're going to use the swiping technique, and there's two ways to do this. I'm not sure which way I'm feeling right now though, but we'll see. So someone give me some colors. They don't have to make sense. I see purple again. I see orange. Let's get two more. We have that blue again. And red. Okay, those are the first ones that I saw. Red. Now this is really easy. I want you to take your paint and I want you to just make lines. Okay, you can make straight lines if you want to, which, you know what, I think that's what we're going to do here. I want you to just take your paint. You don't need to go in any particular order, and just go ahead. Is this my blue or my purple? I can't tell. I think it's the purple. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and make some lines here, right? And you can make them squiggly if you want. So let's take our blue. Maybe we want to add like a bit of a squiggly line, right? Maybe just a little dot right there. Maybe a dot right there. Squiggle. Let's take our red. Just add some lines here. And our orange. Alright. Now it looks like a mess. And it might look like a mess, but it's going to look really good at the end. Alright, so let's go ahead and put these back. Now you can also go ahead and use something neutral, like black, white, or gray, to throw in here, and it's actually probably a good idea. So let's go ahead and throw little stripes of white in here as well. Maybe just towards the edge. And let's also add some little stripes of black. Now I want you to grab your clear coat as well. This clear coat is necessary. It's necessary for any painting that you're going to do, space or otherwise. Now let's go ahead and just spray this down. It's going to re-wet all of that paint. I want you to just take your hand. If you don't have gloves, maybe take like a newspaper and fold it up or something like that. But we're just going to swipe. Now the way that I'm going to swipe here is I'm going to swipe with the flow of the paint. See, we have a flow. We basically made our lines going this direction every single time. So I'm going to go ahead and just swipe with that. And we're going to swipe back and forth and just kind of get all of this paint together. We need more clear coat. Make sure that this paint is wet. Just like that. We're just going to kind of swipe it all together. Now you can swipe against the flow of your paint as well, and it'll give a pretty different result. So it's just all personal preference. It does look blurry. It does. You can also swipe. Let's say that you wanted to add more white to this, right? I think we could use a little bit more white. I'm just adding some clear coat. What you can do as well is just spray some white onto the fingers and then go ahead and just smear it in, like swipe it in like that. You can also do this, you could do it, actually do that with any can or any color that you want. Alright, but that looks pretty good. We don't want to do anything too crazy. Now let's say that our light source is going to be, it's a little piece of debris right there. Just get rid of that. Let's say our light source is going to be right here, right? We're going to do a galaxy and maybe we'll do a big star right here. That means that the side of the planet that's going to get our highlight is the side of the planet that's closer to this light source. So it's basically like this bottom left area. That's what's going to get the highlight, and the opposite side will get the shading. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And remember, for those of you who are just joining, this is easy. We don't want to hold the can too close because that's not a good highlight, right? We want something cloudy, something misty, so pull back your can. Find your distance. That will give you that nice kind of cloudy effect. And we're going to go ahead and make a smiley face. That's it. These are just smiley face motions. We're going to make a smiley face and just kind of work our way in a little bit. Right, we're going to start from the outside of this planet, smiley faces, and let the overspray do most of the work. Okay? You don't need to do that much. So that looks pretty good. Now we're just going to flip it over and we're going to do the shading on the other side. And this is the same exact thing. We just want to make sure that we're not too close. Every brand is going to be different. Okay? But you don't need to kiss the canvas. Pull it back a little bit to get that nice faded cloudy effect. Alright? So we're just going to make some smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, and we're slowly working our way in, right? And you can do as much shading as you want, but I don't want to cover up these colors, okay? So we're just going to keep it like that. Nothing too crazy. All right, because I don't want to get rid of those colors. I want to be able to see them. Now, if you want the best results, you should let the paint dry. We don't do that, though. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this up. We're going to make sure that you get some of that white, some of that black. And I think we might have to weigh this down, just to be safe though. I'm going to go ahead and weigh it down with this. Alright, just to make sure that it doesn't lift up and we don't get any spray paint underneath there. Yeah, heat dries paint faster. This is why you see people use fire. So you can use something like a blow dryer or a heat gun and it'll speed up the process. Alright, so let's get some more colors in here, right? Because we're not going to do just black yet. We need some colors as our first layer. So give me some colors. I'm going to imagine that you said red. Okay, ooh, pink. Okay. Pink is a good one. Where is that? There it is. Alright. Okay, I'm seeing... Oh, we got a lot. Hold on, I'm trying to find out who was first. I'm seeing a lot of purple again. We see a lot of pink. I like the idea of magenta. Someone said magenta earlier. And I think that's like a kind of pink, so let's go that. So we have red, we have magenta, and I'm seeing a lot of green. I'm also seeing some teal. How about we do both? We'll do green and teal, because that's what I'm seeing the most of. We already have a lot of blue. We've used a lot of blue. Let's use some green. Let's use the closest thing that I have to teal. Make sure to shake your cans often. Now you can spray these colors randomly if you want, but I think I'm going to go from lighter to darker. Remember, our light source is going to be right here, exactly where I'm pointing. So let's start with our lighter color there, and then get darker the more we go out. So I think that is actually a really good question as to what that is. It might be the magenta. And that's fine, because we're also going to add, oh, it's going to be a white star anyway, so it's not really going to matter that much. So go ahead and figure out what's lighter to darker, or as close as you can get it. So I think we're rocking with something like magenta, so I'm going to put a little boop of magenta there. That's going to be our lightest color. And then I think my next darkest is the red. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to make a circle around that magenta. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, don't worry too much about it. Okay, and then let's go green. Let's make some green around it. And then let's go ahead and get some teal in there. I'm just going to go ahead and fill up this whole thing, actually. And you know what? I think we could actually rock with another color. I'm seeing... I saw some purple. Yeah, okay, we'll throw some purple in there as well, just towards the edge. And I think that's darker as well. And hopefully we'll be able to catch some of that. Alright, looking pretty good. And don't put those colors away yet, though. So what we're going to do, and it's best, if you also want the best results here, it's best to let it sit for like a minute. You don't have to let it dry completely, but once again, we're not doing that. So go ahead and cover it up with black. Go ahead and put a layer of black over all of these colors. Make sure to get around that stencil. You want to make it as clean as possible. Alright. Now let's go ahead and you can use like a magazine page, you can use newspaper, you can use a plastic bag. We're just going to crumple it up. Make sure it has a bunch of wrinkles in it. Now you can actually fold these to get specific patterns. So let's actually do both. Alright. If you just crumple it up, you're going to get a really random type of thing. Right? Like really random wrinkles. But you can go ahead and you can fold these if you just want to make a bunch of folds in it to get like lines. But one of my favorites is I'll take my finger, put it in the center of the page, and just kind of fold it around the finger. And pinch it down. Pinch it down really nice, really good. Okay, and let's open it back up. And you'll see we don't have just a random wrinkle, we have, it almost looks like a starburst sort of thing, right? So it all originates here, then you have all those lines go out in a circle. It's really cool, really cool. So let's go ahead and grab our clear coat, and we'll use both, right? The clear coat will re-wet the paint for us, so we're going to re-wet all of this black that we just put down. And we're going to place this down. I'm going to try to put it in the center where our light source is going to be, right there. And just place this down. You don't need to use too much pressure. And try not to move your planet stencil. That's probably the biggest thing to be concerned about. And then you're going to go ahead and lift it. And that is a really cool design, right? We have all of those lines and all that texture, and originating from where our star is going to be, that's going to look sick. And also, look at all those colors showing through. We have the magenta, it fades into that red. Those are two great colors to have next to each other. And then that green, and we're going to keep going upwards into the teal and the purple. Hopefully the purple will show up. All right? So I'm going to lift you guys up, though. I think you're a bit too close. Just a little bit. Just a tad bit. Right? Really cool so far. You can use any colors that you want for this. Right? So let's go ahead and use more clear coat. This is all that I'm using here. Re-wet this whole area. And I think I'm going to have to move him. He's in the way. And this is just a random, like, crumpled up, random wrinkled page. But we're going to go ahead and just place it and just kind of swipe down. We're going to try not to move this stencil, this planet stencil. And it gives us that random texture like that. So let's go ahead down here. And I'm not going to worry too much about getting, like, really close to the planet, because we're going to add a bunch of color here anyway, and we can, like, shape this galaxy out. So don't worry too much about it. And also keep in mind what colors we used here. So I told you guys not to put it away. And this is looking really cool so far. And we could just kind of tap down exactly where we want some texture to be. This is really cool. Okay, so a couple of things. This is really bright. This is pretty bright. But let's go ahead and add some color, right? So like I said before, we want to find our distance here. So we started with some magenta here. I'm going to grab my magenta. We're going to pull back this can because we just want to add just a touch of color, okay? We just want to add to this. And we're going to just make a little boop of color, right? We don't want to cover up all the texture that we just made, okay? We just want to add to it. So let's go ahead and grab that red. We're going to pull back this can and just make little bursts, right? And when I'm trying to, I don't want to use too much paint as well, don't hold down your nozzle, okay? Just make little bursts, just like that, okay? That's a good way to get some control. So let's go ahead and let's get the green here as well. We're going to pull back that can and just add a little bit of green. Add a little bit of green right there. Our teal, we're going to pull back that can, add a little bit of teal to that. And then I think we had purple as well. And I think this is the purple. Just going to add little bursts of purple. Now I also think this is really bright, right? Because this is supposed to be space, alright? We want this to be a bit darker. So let's go ahead and grab our black. And let's just do the same thing. We're going to pull back our can a little bit and just add little pockets of black. Just want to darken this up a little bit. Alright, I think it's just a bit too bright. And we can also just shape out the planet. So I'm going to spray around the planet with the black. Alright, now let's go ahead and make our stars. Once again, I really recommend hologram glitter. If you got money to spend, holographic glitter, hologram glitter, whatever it's called by Montana, rocks. It's really fucking awesome. Don't think too much about the brand of spray paint. It's whatever's convenient or cheaper for you to find. So for me, it's cheaper to just buy Hardcore, and I really like that brand. It's $6 a can through Blick. But if it's easier for you to just go to Walmart or Home Depot, get Rust-Oleum, get Krylon. Alright, so let's get our stars down, right? We're going to spray some white onto the finger. We're going to flick to the side 1, 2, maybe 3 times to get those big nasty blobs off. And then we're going to flick onto the page, into the page. Now actually, I missed my flick a little bit. I usually flick off to the side completely, but I just wanted to show you guys. But we can actually cover those up, right? And this is a good lesson, right? Especially with the space paintings, it's really easy to cover up any blobs or any little imperfections that you don't like. We can go ahead and cover them up. So let's get these stars down. Alright, now we have a few really big blobs here. I wish my tripod would stop moving down. Or my whatever it is. Alright, so we have a really big blob here. We have some pretty big blobs here, and that's gross, right? It's pretty gross. So let's go ahead and cover this up. Let's get some black. You could spray it to the side, you could just spray it directly on your finger. I'm just going to spray it to the side. I'm going to take my finger, dip it in the black here, and with each little speck, I'm just going to make a boop, right? Loading up my finger with some black paint, right? And you can go ahead and you can make, these are asteroids, right? They're floating rocks, right? So you can make little tiny boops. You can make big asteroids and you can shape them out, but this is just finger painting, right? So let's say that we want a really big asteroid right here. Maybe we'll have two like kind of connected to each other. And you just kind of boop your finger. We're not going to use too many though. And we still got to make our star. But that's a great way to cover up any little imperfections. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our star. You're going to need some sort of straight edge. Now, the best thing is like an actual straight edge, so you can get like a putty knife like this. You can get an actual, whatever the hell this is called, straight edge type of thing, like this. But, if you don't have anything like that, just tear yourself off a poster board, right? And we're going to use that flat edge, and we're going to use this. The whole idea here is we're going to take our white, and we're going to spray onto the tool. We're not going to spray onto the painting, we're going to spray onto the tool like this, alright? And also keep in mind, the more paint that you put here, it's going to start dripping, so just make sure to wipe it off, right? And we're going to hold it. It can be at any angle, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to hover right above the painting here. Couple centimeters right above the painting. And we're going to go ahead and just spray onto our little tool, and we have a little line. Neat, right? Easy. And we can cross it over, spray again on that tool, and now we have a little star, right? And we can go ahead and make an X within the X, cross within the cross, however you want to look at it. And then we can go ahead and add a little boop of white right in the middle. Easy. And let's go ahead and lift this up. And that's a really cool planet. That's actually really fucking cool. And I also want to take the attention back to, because I always get questions about this, the Ring of Doom. Right? Why do I keep getting the Ring of Doom? So it could be your stencil. Maybe your stencil has like a really fat lip to it, but we see it lifted up a lot of that paint, and it left a mark. Now, I've been doing this a while, it doesn't really bother me that much anymore. But you can cover them up, right? So we have some imperfections over here at the white. So let's go ahead and do this again. Let's grab our poster board. We're going to curve it, and it's going to be the same idea. We're just going to hover. We're going to hover a couple centimeters above our painting. This time we're going to curve it so it kind of aligns with the curve of the planet. And we're going to spray the white here on the tool, and we can add a glow, right? And we're just going to go around the whole planet. We'll stop at the shading, but we can just touch up on this highlighting. It's going to add a really nice glow. It's going to cover up any imperfections. It's a win-win. Might take a little bit of practice. You might need a bit of a steady hand. And like I said, it's not necessary. If the Ring of Doom is not something that bothers you, then don't worry about it. But also, if you don't want the Ring of Doom and you want to try to avoid it to begin with, what you can do is let that paint dry before you place that stencil, and get a stencil that has a smaller lip around the edge. That's one thing as well. And we can even go ahead and try to touch up on the highlighting here, or on the shading here, right? And we're going to do the same thing but with black. And there we go. We've basically gotten rid of the Ring of Doom very easily. So that's a really cool painting. It's really cool, really bright, colorful, looks nice. So now we're just going to seal it up with some clear coat. Right? This is all I use. This does help re-wet the paint, so you don't want to use too much when you're just trying to seal up your painting. Okay, just one even layer. Just kind of go down, back and forth, go down your painting. I like to put just a little bit more in the corner, because that's where I sign my name. And you can just get anything sharp, right, and just kind of carve out your signature. I like to put the year and a squiggle. Right? The planet is really cool. One of my favorite techniques. This is just glossy poster board. You can use canvas if you want to. But just make sure that it's primed. Right? Get a canvas that comes pre-primed, or prime it yourself. Okay, now I just saw someone ask how I got the lines of the star. This is really easy. You want to get some sort of straight edge. You can get a putty knife, or you can just use poster board. You're going to hover right above your painting, just a couple centimeters, and we're going to spray white onto the tool. And it makes a pretty nice defined line. And you just cross it. And then you can make a cross within the cross, and then just like that, you have a little star. Easy. Okay? Full send it. Don't think too much into it. Alright, so we've learned a lot. Okay, we started with a single planet. Alright, now we added a galaxy to it, and I'll show you guys a close-up, right? We have all of that texture in there. Really cool. Really, really cool. Really cool. And also what we can... Whoops, I bumped into you guys, my bad. One thing we can do with the asteroids as well, you can leave them silhouetted or you can highlight them. So let's go ahead and do that next painting, right? Because we're going to keep practicing. Like I said, we're going to start with the bare basics, and then we're just going to keep adding on. So we started with the planet, we added the galaxy. Now let's go ahead and do this again. Except this time we're going to add a city. Well, we're about to do it again anyway. We're going to do a different technique for the planet, though. Alright. The city is, I know you guys have probably seen people in big cities, New York. I know there's people in Vegas who do this, people in Rome, who will go ahead and make the skyline. They'll sell them to tourists. They'll usually be out in the street doing these. And a lot of people get really amazed at it, but it's actually really easy. So let's go ahead and learn this. I just like to tape down my poster. There you go. I have to keep raising you guys up. I gotta get a new tripod thingy-majiggy to hold my camera. Alright, so let's go ahead and do another planet. We can do another big planet. Fuck it. And let's go ahead and do a different technique here. I'm gonna need 2 colors, right? So let's say that it's gonna be on the bottom here. That's where I want my planet. Place your planet wherever. We're just gonna outline it with a darker paint, so we know exactly where to be putting our colors, so we don't use too much. We don't need to use too much paint, especially not in this economy, but also you don't want to use too little paint. Okay, you want to make sure you actually fill this up. So what were the first two colors that we have? Gold and orange. Those kind of go together, gold, yellow. I see orange and yellow. Alright. I want to use 2 colors that don't really go together. I want them to clash. So I see a lot of yellow and I see a lot of blue. Okay, and those 2 colors, perfect. Perfect to clash together with. So let's go ahead and grab them. We have this blue. Now I'm just going to go basically just fill up one side. Oh, this is teal, isn't it? Whoops. Here's blue. Just going to kind of fill up one side. I'm going to leave a lot of blank space though. Maybe a little squiggle right there. Don't really matter that much. Now let's grab some yellow. And we're just going to basically use our yellow and fill in these gaps. Fill in the other side of the planet. Now our city is going to be right like in this planet. Basically I'm going to make sure that we do enough shading to have this city so we can see it. And the color of our city is actually going to be these colors here. So it's going to be yellow and it's going to be blue. Alright, so if you guys want a specific color for your city, let's say you wanted a red city, then red would have been the first color that you put down. Okay, and maybe you would have moved your planet a little bit up. Alright, just a heads up. But we're definitely going to do another city, so we can touch up on that later. Alright, so we have our blue, we have our white. And we can also add some neutrals in here, which is probably a good idea. Let's add some black. Swirl. Let's add some white. Swirl. Squiggle. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. And now let's go ahead and grab, you can grab magazine, newspaper again, but we're not going to do anything to it this time. We're just going to grab our clear coat, re-wet this paint. Not going to be too shy about it this time. And we're just going to place this page down completely, and we're just going to spin it. I want you to go ahead and just spin this entire page. Let's try to do enough. And I think that's pretty good right there. We're going to lift it, and that is a really cool technique that I wish more people would do. It's really underrated. Alright. I think we could have actually added another color in there, but you know what? We'll just roll with it. We're going to roll with it. So let's do our shading. Let's do our highlighting. Now we can actually do, we can do more shading. So how about we try to fill up like 40% of this planet with shading. For those of you who are new, we're going to take our black, but we're not going to hold this too close. If we hold it too close, it's a really solid line like that. You want to pull back your can, find your distance, so you get that nice, faded, misty type of effect. And we're just going to make smiley faces. Smiley face motions, and we're going to work our way into the planet, right? So let's start from the bottom here. Smiley face, work our way in. And that's about 40% of the planet, right? I think we basically got it. Alright, basically halfway. Looks pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and flip this around, and we're going to do a smiley face on the other side of the planet, which is going to be our highlighting. Alright? Whoops. That cap is done for. Let's grab another one. So we're just going to do a smiley face right on the outside of the planet. Let the overspray do most of the work, okay? So the smiley face of white. Let's flip this back around. And this is going to look pretty good. Now, like I said, you should let this paint dry. You should let this paint dry if you want the best results, if you don't want the ring of doom, but we don't do that around here. So go ahead and grab your stencil, and we're just going to go ahead and cover this up. You want to make sure you catch some of that white, some of that black. And now, let's go ahead and get some colors. I want some colors for the galaxy up here. We're going to do a bit of a different galaxy. It's not my favorite, but it is a bit of a different one than we did last time. So give me some colors. Pink. All right, I see pink. That's going to be our lightest for sure. So I'm just going to put a little boop of pink right in the middle because I know that's going to be our lightest color. I see purple. I see lime green, red. All right. So purple is probably going to be one of our darker colors. Lime green is probably going to be our next. So let's just go ahead and just kind of work our way around that pink, which was our lightest color right there. And I saw red as well. Okay, and I think the red and purple are basically going to fight for who is the darker color. No, actually it's definitely the purple. So let's do the red right around that. And let's go ahead and add purple right around that. Don't think too much into it. Don't think too much into it at all. Just like that. And this time, I'm actually going to flip this around. Right, this is going to be a kind of a small thing. We're going to flip this around though. Let's grab our clear coat. Alright, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to fill in the rest black. I want you to get around the stencil really nice with black. But let's go ahead and fill this in. Right next to our color. Just like that. And we can actually add some black in there as well. You can always add neutrals to your color. Always. So we can even add white right in the middle. Let's grab our clear coat. Neutrals are never a bad idea. Let's grab our clear coat and let's just re-wet this area. And we're going to take our hand. I'm just going to swipe these colors across. I'm going to kind of get close, a little closer to that stencil. Maybe as close as we can. And we have all those colors smearing together. Looks really nice. I would like to get some more of that purple in there though. So let's add some purple. Just kind of want to swipe that in. Looks very good. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to use the black and we're going to shape it out now. Alright, so let's grab our black. So we have this little thing, and let's just go ahead and shape this out. Right, and when we're shaping it out, you can hold your can pretty far away and just kind of eat away at this galaxy a little bit. Just kind of shape it out, right? So let's hit the corner, just like that. We'll hit the corner right there, just like that. We're going to find our distance, right? We don't want to do anything too crazy. I also want to get around our stencil and just eat away at it. And also, let's add some color, right? And I'm just going to pick the colors that you guys already picked, right? So we had that purple, we had that red. And let's add some color to this. So I'm going to hold this can pretty far away. Let's add a little burst of red around our galaxy. How about we add some to the corner as well? We don't want to take over the little swiping texture that we just made. Just want to add to it. So let's add some little pops of purple in here as well. Remember, holding the can pretty far away, just putting little bursts of color in there. And now let's go ahead and do another star. And I actually think, well, I guess we'll do our stars first and then we'll lift up the planet. So let's grab some white. Grab some white. Let's move you guys over here. We're going to spray some white onto the finger. You're going to flick to the side 1, 2, maybe 3 times to get those big nasty blobs off. And then we're going to bring it back over here and we're going to flick it onto the painting. Right? 1, 2, 3 to the side. Flick onto the painting. Alright, now we're going to add a big star. But first, let's go ahead and lift up our planet. We can also do comets. I actually forgot about that. We could totally do comets. So that planet looks pretty solid. I'm not going to worry too much about the Ring of Doom at the bottom because our city's going to go down there. Alright? So it's going to get covered up anyway. So let's go ahead and do our star. Get a straight edge of some sorts. If you don't have an actual like putty knife or a straight edge, just use some poster board that has a flat edge to it, alright? Well, we're going to take our tool. We're going to go ahead and just make a little star here. We're going to hover a few centimeters right above our canvas. Right? And we're just going to spray onto the tool. We're going to spray white right there, and it's going to give us a nice little line downwards. Just like that. And you know what? We're not going to be too scared to go into our planet. And then we're going to cross it over. Make another one. And we can go ahead and make an X within the X, a cross within the cross, however you see it. Whatever floats your boat. And that looks pretty solid. Let's go ahead and add some comets now. So you're going to need a poster board that has a flat edge to it, except this time we're going to kind of fold it, right? So we have our flat edge here. And we're going to fold it, and we're going to pinch it down just a little bit. We want to have that opening. You see that opening right there? That's exactly what we want for our comet. So I'm not going to pinch it down completely. I'm not going to like crease it. We're just going to pinch it down enough so we have that opening. And when we flip it over, this is what it looks like. Now, if you want your comets to be open towards the end, then I want you to focus your pressure, your finger pressure, towards the bend. Okay? If you want yours to be closed, which I like to have mine closed, we're going to focus our pressure from our fingers more towards the back to just close it. And now we're going to treat this like a funnel. We're going to treat this like a funnel, so we're going to hover, once again, we're going to hover right above our canvas here, and we're just going to shoot some white on the inside of our tool right now. And we can go ahead and make some little comets. Just like that. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. Maybe we'll have some in front of the planet. Not too bad. Just remember, when you're using tools like this, eventually it's going to drip. Okay, so just make sure to wipe it off. I have spray paint clothes, so I usually just wipe them off my pants, you know. But if you need to wipe them off on the table, or you want to get like some sort of rag or something, just make sure you wipe it off. All right. So let's go ahead and do our city here. I'm actually going to retouch on the black down here, just a little bit, because I want the city to really pop. But take your clear coat and re-wet this whole area, this whole bottom area, bottom of the planet, where we're going to put our city. Now there's two ways to go about this. The best tool for this is the angled palette knife. Okay, however, I know most of you probably don't have an angled palette knife lying around. Also, if you're going to get one that's like a metal blade. I think they're stainless steel blades, whatever it is. Don't get the plastic ones, okay, because they're not as sharp, they don't work as well. However, if you don't have one, what we can do is we can actually take a flat piece of poster board, like that. Just tore off a little piece. And we're going to fold it in half just to give it some more strength, okay? But we can actually use this flat side here, or we can use this flat side here as like a makeshift angled palette knife, okay? So I'm going to show you guys, we're going to start off by using this tool, and then I'm going to switch over to the angled palette knife, because they're really not comparable. The angled palette knife is way better. So remember, clear coat to re-wet this. And all you're going to do is you're going to place this flat edge, whatever tool you're using, doesn't really matter, you're going to place it completely down, and you're just going to scrape it across. That's it. That's it. So if you want to make like an actual, like, real type of skyline, it's typically box buildings, right? So you can go ahead and just scrape some rectangles in there. Or what you can do is you can also make them 3D. So we have our little rectangle here. We could just go to the side of it and just kind of bring it down at an angle as well. Now when I reach the end of my buildings, I like to just swipe down. I don't know why I do this. I think it's just kind of habit. But it also makes a pretty sharp, defined line, so it looks really nice. So you can go ahead and do whatever you want. However, what I like to do is make alien-type buildings, alien cities. Right, so I go ahead and I just make all sorts of shapes and all sorts of shit, basically. And I make my skylines like that. Now let me get you guys out of the booster seat so you can actually see kind of what's going on. So I'm just going to go to my angled palette knife now. I'm going to place it completely down, and you're just going to swipe it across. You're just scraping paint away. That's it. So we can actually, maybe we want this building to have like multiple layers to it, like that. Maybe we want, like I said, I like alien type buildings. So I like to make them really pointy. Maybe I'll add like little circles in them, whatever the case may be. But go crazy. Make any type of city that you want. If you want to follow like an actual skyline of wherever you live. I used to do a lot of Philly stuff when I did flea markets in there, or up there. So I used to do the Philly skyline a lot. Okay, so do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Go crazy. But go ahead and make your back layer. My back layer is usually my tallest building. So go ahead and make some tall buildings. And we're going to go ahead and also make layers. And also, when I'm going ahead and I'm making these alien cities, just adding more clear coat, I like to add squiggles. I always love my squiggles. Squiggle. Alright, and you can also add layers, right? It's always nice to add layers to your paintings. Always add that depth. Right? So what we can do is we can actually take our black, or any dark color would really work here, and we're just going to shade the bottom. We're basically just going to shade the bottom here. We're going to pull our can back, and we're just going to spray the bottom, kind of eat away at some of these buildings. And the reason that we do this is when we make our next layer, we actually want to be able to see the buildings here, right? So let me explain that a little bit. If we go ahead and we have a giant building, let's say we have a building right there, right? Whatever. And you want to make buildings in front of that building. If you don't have that separator of black, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to see the next building as well as if you had a black background to it. You see, you can't really see that there's a building in front of that big building, right? So that's why we use the black. That's why we shade at the bottom there. So let's go ahead and make some more buildings. Add some layers. Maybe we want like kind of a dome thing right here. You can also make bridges and all sorts of good stuff. And I think we'll just do water at the bottom. I was tempted to do the line thingy, the very old school technique of the lines. But I think we'll just do some water. So let's use some more clear coat. Yeah, I can't multitask. I get carried away. All right, and like I said, this is an alien city, so I want to add a bunch of things that are kind of alien looking, you know? So how about just like lines? Maybe these are like cables or supports or something. Some more squiggles. Some circles. Maybe some triangles or something. I don't know. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a straight edge. Like I said, if you don't have an actual straight edge thing, you can just use poster board that has a flat side to it, although I don't actually have one right now because I used it for a comet tool. Well, let's go ahead, and we're just going to use yellow and blue for this, for our water. But we're going to use our straight edge. We're just going to block off the bottom of the city here. Right, just place this down completely. We're just going to use this to contain the spray paint. We're going to use the yellow, we're going to use the blue. Just because it's basically a reflection of everything that we have going on up here. And we're just going to spray it down. So we're going to spray some yellow on the left side. We're going to spray some blue on that right side. And then we also have a light source in this painting. That giant star up there is our light source. So let's go ahead and take some white, and let's spray some white right in the middle, right underneath that light source. And you know what? We can actually go ahead and just add some white up there. Now let's go ahead and grab our clear coat. Once again, this is all I'm using. Nothing too crazy, nothing special. We're going to re-wet the paint here at the water. I'm going to take my fingers, take your hand, whatever, and we're just going to swipe the paint across. And I'm just going to work my way down. So I start from the top, and I just swipe my way down. That's it. So let's add a little bit more clear. Pretty cool. And we have a little, that is probably the easiest way to do water. Alright? And that's basically it. We can actually call it good just like that right there. However, what I like to do is I like to add either a line of shading or a line of a I usually go with the highlight, so I'll use some white. I just think it makes it really pop, right? So let's go. Oh, actually, we did asteroids last time, and I told you guys you can actually outline your asteroid. So let's go ahead and do that here. Let's spray some black to the side, right? And this is so complicated, guys. I don't know if you're going to be able to keep up, really. But you're going to take your finger, and you're going to dip it in some black, like this. Okay, now pay attention, don't blink. Boop. That's it. You just make some boops. All right, so let's have some asteroids right there. You can smear them around. Maybe you want like a weird, wonky looking asteroid right there. And let's add another one right there. Right, just to add a little something. Alright, now if you want to highlight these, you can take your clear coat again, re-wet them, right? So let's spray some clear coat right over those asteroids. Take something sharp. It can be the edge of a putty knife. If you have the putty knife, it can just be the palette knife. I'm going to use the point of my angled palette knife. And what we're going to do, remember, this star is our light source right here. So we're going to highlight, we're basically going to trace along the outside of our asteroid that's closer to that light source. So basically it's going to be the left side of this asteroid, and I'm just going to trace my knife along that side. And we have a little highlight, and I'm also going to add some lines inside of our little asteroid. It's not too complicated, right? So the left side of this asteroid is closer to the light source, and I'm just going to go ahead and add some little lines of highlight in there. Same thing right here, it's that left side. And we can go ahead and highlight them. Now for this one, it's a bit different, right? Now we're on the right side of the asteroids, are closer to the light source. So let's go ahead and just add some little highlights. We're going to trace along the outside of it. And I usually don't worry about the really small ones, right? Because they're tiny. And I think that was a bit much, so let's just kind of smear that one away. Oh, we also have some right here. I'm just using the point of my angled palette knife, just scraping along the side, and you can go ahead and add some little lines on the inside of those asteroids, and that's how you can highlight them. No, none of these are commissioned. We're winging it as we go. Alright, now back to the waterline. This is something that I like to do. What I like to do is I like to get my straight edge, and I'll just kind of like hover here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray white onto this tool. Not onto the painting, but onto the tool, and it's going to give us that nice, kind of defined, crisp line down. And I don't know why, I like to add those to my horizons or my water lines. You can also use black, right, as like a kind of like a shading sort of thing, but it don't matter. But that's it. That's it. So let's go ahead and seal her up. Right, just going to seal her up with one final layer of clear coat. Put a little, I'm going to put a little bit more in the corner. Just to re-wet that paint there, because that's where I like to sign my name. I like to put the year and squiggle. Oh, would you look at that? I like the blue and yellow. The blue and yellow was a good call. With this technique, with that technique for the planet, I always like to use some colors that really clash, right? So you can use colors that are complete opposite on the color wheel. So it would actually be blue and orange. You could use something like purple and yellow. Just colors that typically wouldn't really go well right next to each other. But that is actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and add to this. So we're actually going to switch things up a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and learn how to do waterfalls. These are beginner friendly. These are beginner friendly. So let's go ahead and move on to that. I think that is the glossy side. Remember, glossy side up, that's what you paint on. With the glossy poster board, I like to tape my stuff down. Sometimes the tape don't tape, but it's worth a shot anyway. We don't want this page to move around while we're doing stuff. Or wait, is this the glossy? Maybe this is the glossy side. I can't feel it because of my gloves. I'm going to say this is the glossy side. Alright. People asking for, we can make a planet with a ring, for sure. They're not very beginner, but we could totally do it. Alright? So let's go ahead and make another planet. And this time, we'll do a swiping technique, and we'll do it against the flow, right? So for those of you who were here earlier, we went with the flow of the paint. Now we're going to do it against it, and it's going to look really different. So let's grab another planet stencil. I don't want to do anything too big here. Let's just say that. And then we can go ahead and we can like make a galaxy around it or something like that. I don't know. But wherever you want that planet to go. I'm not sure. I think this is the glossy one. But we're just going to outline it. No, it is this side. Okay. Alright. I do post everything after the live to my website. Let's get some colors. Let's get some colors. Maybe 3. We can, oh, so there's actually another technique to do a planet that not a whole lot of people do, and I don't know why, because it's super dope. We can do a double planet. Alright, the closest thing I have is this, and orange. Okay, and pink. Okay. Orange and pink. Let's grab them. Alright. So I want you to go ahead and make squiggles. This is the closest thing that we have to turquoise or teal. Let's add little lines or dots or squiggles of pink. And let's go ahead and add, we have a little bit of orange left in this can. So there we go. We have that absolute mess. You can also add some neutrals to this. So we can add maybe just a stripe of black right there. So we have a flow though, right? We have a flow. Right? Our flow was, we kind of like painted up and down this way. Sometimes they were squiggly, but they still went that way. Oh, I thought that was the teal. My bad. So this time we're going to go against that flow, is how we're going to swipe. So let's grab our clear coat. Remember, it's all we're using. Just clear coat that real quick. We're going to take our hand, and we're just going to swipe against that flow of paint. Right, and it's going to mix these up a completely different way. And I will grab the other painting that we did earlier, just to kind of show. Where'd the teal go? Or turquoise, or whatever it was. There we go. I want to add that. Oh, and we're kind of missing out on the pink now, huh? Pink. Okay. There we go. Alright. Where is that painting? Okay. So before when we did this, we went ahead and swiped with the flow. And see, it's much more, I don't want to say normal. It's much calmer. Like, it flows together really nice because we swiped with the flow that we were spraying those colors down. Alright, this one, completely different. Completely different. And it's actually probably better to compare once it's actually done. But you can do it either way. It just depends on what kind of look you want. I also think that's way too much turquoise. What other color did you guys ask for? Oh, orange. And also keep that in mind. If you don't like something, you can just put the colors down again. You're not stuck with it forever. Alright. So let's go ahead and do our shading and our highlighting. Let's say our light source is going to be right here to the left. Okay, that means that our highlight of this planet is going to be on the left side of our planet because it's closer to that light source that we're going to do. Alright? So let's grab our white. And also, when you're going ahead and you're doing planets that are smaller, or maybe you're having a hard time controlling your paint or freehanding the highlights and the shading, what you can do is get a piece of poster board that has a flatter side to it and just kind of curve it. Right? We're going to curve it and we're going to spray our white here. And it's going to give us a much more defined and controlled highlight. Right? Just kind of curve it. So you get that smiley face sort of look again. And we can do this with the shading as well. Right? This is definitely smart to do for those smaller planets. But once again, if you're just struggling with some of the control, definitely consider doing this technique. Alright? So we're just going to spray this tool and just kind of get that shading down. And just to double check, I think that looks good. Alright. Just wanted to get myself some more poster board in case we need that. Now you should let the paint dry, but we don't do that. So go ahead and place it. Make sure you get some of that highlighting, some of that shading. Whoops. Well, that wasn't good. It moved when I tried to pick it up. So let's go ahead and just reapply that black. Okay, and let's just try to like drop it on maybe. There we go. Here we go. So also, if you're going to go ahead and do color, make sure that you have color outside of it. If you're going to do a ring, I can't fucking speak right now. If you're going to do a ring around the planet like we are, you want to make sure that there's color around the planet. So we do have a little bit there, a little bit there. So let's go ahead and just add to that. So let's grab that turquoise, teal, blue, green thing. And then let's grab that orange on the other side. just to make sure that there's some color. Just to make sure that there's some color there on our ring. Alright, now let's go ahead, and I don't think we're going to do a galaxy or anything like that. Or should we do a galaxy? I don't know. Should we do a galaxy or nah? We could just add color and just make it really easy. Galaxy? Okay. Alright, so let's grab some colors. Give me some colors. We will do a double planet. We will do a double planet, but we gotta wait until after we do the sky. Alright, let me see if I have gold. I might have gold. Oh shit, okay. I see gold, I see green, red. Alright, we'll just stick with those three, right? I'll be honest, I haven't touched this gold in years. It's been sitting on my shelf for probably since like 2019. But it's going to work. It's going to work. So actually, let's just go ahead and add this color randomly. We don't have to follow any rules. We don't have to go lighter to darker. Let's just add this color. Let's say we want gold up there. Let's say we want green right next to it. Say we want red all over there. Yeah? It doesn't have to make sense. We don't have to think about anything. And now let's go ahead and cover it up with black. And we're going to add little pockets of color. Alright, first things first, we want to make sure that we spray all around our stencil. We want to make sure we get those lines as clean as possible. And also remember, you don't have to use that much paint, okay? But let's go ahead and cover up all that color that we just used. Alright, I'm actually going to leave the bottom here blank. Because, like I said, this is going to be a waterfall thing. So, you know, we're going to do land and stuff like that. We don't have to worry about that right now. Alright. So let's grab a magazine or a newspaper, whatever's convenient to you, and just go ahead and crumple it up. Dabbing isn't all that great unless you use like little pressure, right? I think if you just lay it down, and that's all we're going to do. We crumpled it, we uncrumpled, you lay it down, and we're going to be careful not to move this. We're just going to kind of swipe it gently and lift, right? And it's going to give us that texture. Right? Place it, swipe it, lift it. Right? And all that color that we just placed down is coming through. Just want to make sure that I don't touch that stencil though. We don't want to move that. Something like that is actually perfectly fine. And what I'm going to do, let's add a little thing right here as well. Alright, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and grab some black here. And I want to shape all of this out. So I'm going to pull my can back, right? We don't want this to be too strong. I'm going to pull it back, and I'm going to kind of shape out all this texture that we just made, right? Just kind of touch up, shape it out, fade some black in there so it doesn't just end abruptly, if that makes sense. Let's add some around there. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that color. So let's go to the gold first. We're going to hold our cans pretty far away, and we're going to add little pops of gold right over this texture. We don't want to overtake the texture, we just want to add some color on top of it. Literally, that's it. That's all I'm going to do there. Right? I'm pulling my can super far back, and I'm just adding some of that gold. Let's go ahead and get that red, and we'll also do the green. So I think we have some red up here. I'm pulling my can really far back here, mostly because I'm using fat caps. And fat caps have a lot of coverage, so I have to pull my can back a lot further. Let's grab the green. Right, this green I think actually has a default cap on it, which means I don't have to pull it back as far as the fat cap. Right, every can is going to be different. That's why I tell you guys, find your distance. Every can, every brand, every cap will be different. Ooh, what just happened there? Our can just decided to shit out on us. It's fine. Alright. Let's go ahead and add... That is actually really bothering me that just happened. But that's a part of spray paint, I guess. So what I'm going to do is actually just clear coat it. I don't have another magazine. I'm gonna grab some more newspaper, or I'm sorry, phone book paper for all the boomers that get mad at me. It's like a newspaper-like material. That's why I say that. All right. Because our can just freaked out on us and gave us all that splatter, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get some of that texture up again and redo it. Maybe we'll add some black. Sometimes it's gonna happen. Usually what I'll do is I'll spray to the side first to make sure that doesn't happen. However, that was the one time that I didn't, and we paid the consequences. Alright. We paid the price, I mean. We paid the price. Alright. Now let's just add a little bit more of that red right there, and we're good to go. Alright, so let's grab some white and let's do our stars again. So let's just move you guys over here so I can show you guys and not risk getting big blobs on the painting. We're going to spray some white onto the finger, flick to the side 1, 2, maybe 3 times, depends on how runny your paint is. Every paint's different. 1, 2 to the side, and then we're going to bring it back over here and flick them down. Also, here's another way to do a planet. We're going to do a double planet, right? So what I'm going to do is actually take my black, and I'm going to add a little thing of black right there on the edge of that planet, because that's exactly where I'm going to put another one. Now I want you to go get a roll of tape, right? Just a roll of tape. This is a roll of painter's tape that I have. It's maybe like 2 inches thick, right? The thicker the better. But we're going to use this, and we're going to spray on the inside of the roll of tape like a backboard, right? So let's say that we want, I don't know, someone give me, let's say we want a yellow planet. I don't know. That's just what's right next to me. So we're just going to hold this. We're going to hover, right? We're just going to hover, and I'm going to go ahead and spray that. Treat it like a backboard, right? Treat it like a backboard. I'm going to kind of work my way in just a little bit. And we're going to add some white to that as well. So let's add some white. I'm just going to hold it right above, and we're going to spray some white on the inside like that. And we have another planet. Pretty cool. These are also really cool for just moons, like crescent moons. Yeah, I never see anyone do that, and it's a shame, because it's a really quick and easy way to get stuff done. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a ring. So one thing as well, I think I want to touch up on the highlighting just a little bit right there. So what I'm going to do is grab a poster board that has a flat edge to it, and I'm going to curve it so it aligns kind of with the planet here. And what we're going to do is just spray some white onto the tool, like that. So we're going to curve this. I think that looks pretty good with the planet. We're going to spray onto the tool, and it's going to add a nice little glow. So I'm also going to fix any imperfections that we had, and I'm not going to worry too much about the shading. We'll just have that glow. Alright, now let's go ahead and do a ring. Let's grab some clear coat. And I'm going to go ahead and re-wet. My ring is going to go this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my clear coat and re-wet that right there. Okay? Now, angled palette knife is best for this. However, if you don't have an angled palette knife, use some poster board, right? Rip off a small piece of poster board that has that flat edge and use that, okay? But the best advice that I have for this is full send it, okay? And even with that, it's not going to be perfect, all right? They very rarely are. But we're going to start from one edge of the planet, and we're just going to kind of swoosh it around. We're going to swoosh it around the halfway point of the planet, and then this is where I usually fuck up. We're going to have to go from the other side and try to meet it in the middle, right? So swoosh it, right? Full send it. Don't worry too much about it. Slow and steady is a bunch of bullshit. Slow and steady is a bunch of bullshit. Full send it. Don't think too much into it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Just do it. So I think we can actually use a little bit more clear coat in there, right? And I'm going to try to go over this one more time. There we go. There we go. And that is how you can do a ring. You can. I have a link in my bio, and all of these paintings that I'm making are going to go on the website after the live. All right. So let's go ahead and do our land, right? The whole point of this was waterfalls, right? And because we're going to add waterfalls to our last painting, which is going to be the next painting, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. Okay, so we need to learn how to do waterfalls right here. They're not that hard. Let's go ahead and make some land here. You can get some black. Now, if you think you have your handling under control and you just want to freehand some land, you can do that, okay? If not, just spray some black to the side or onto your fingers and finger paint, okay? We're going to finger paint some rocks in here. And the only thing is we want to add some little dips in the terrain for our waterfalls, okay? So we'll say that this is going to be a dip right here for a waterfall. And then let's go ahead and raise the land around it. And make this as jagged and as crazy as you want, because that is what nature is, okay? It's not just perfectly round or sharp most of the time. Or, I'm sorry, it's not perfectly straight or perfectly round most of the time. It has those sharp, jagged edges. Okay, so go crazy. Maybe we'll have a bigger waterfall right here. That will be our dip. And I'm just spraying some black on the fingers. And we're just smearing it in. Finger painting. Come on, there's nothing more beginner friendly than that. We did this shit in kindergarten. In preschool, we did this. Whoops. There we go. And the only thing I'm gonna leave some part empty down here because we're gonna do water again. And we'll do water a different way than we did last time. Let's go ahead and get some black in here. Just like that. Okay? Nothing too crazy. Now, if you want to go ahead and add highlights to this, there's two ways you can go about this. So you can grab a color. So let's say that we wanted brown. Okay. Also something to keep in mind, where is our light? Oh, we forgot to do a light source up there. That's where our light source is going to be. So let's grab, remember, if you don't have an actual straight edge, you could just use a poster board with a flat edge like that. And we're just going to hover. You're going to hold this as straight as you can and just hover right above your painting. Maybe like 2 centimeters, okay? Centimeter, 2 centimeters, nothing crazy. And when you spray onto the tool like that, it gives us a nice line. And then we can cross it over. Cross it over again. And again. And you can make little stars, okay? Or, well, not so little, but big stars, all right? They're always fun to do. Okay. So that's our light source. That's where I was going with that. There's 2 ways to do highlights, though, and also keep in mind when you're doing highlights where your light source is. Okay, so our light source is there, and when we go ahead and we trace it, right, that means all of the rocks here are basically the highlights are going to be on the top left part of the rocks there. I'll show you. Okay, so let's say that we want brown, right? So let's grab some clear coat and re-wet this area. We want our fingers to kind of glide right now. We're going to add some brown to the fingers, and we're just going to keep finger painting, okay? And we can add colors. Like I said, for this portion of the rocks here, the highlight is kind of going to be at like an angle from the top left, right? Because that's where the light is hitting these rocks. It's hitting the top left part of the rocks. So you can go ahead and just kind of smear some color in here. You don't want to overtake the black, right? Leave a lot of black space. And if you think that you did too much accidentally, then just add more black, okay? So let's go ahead and add that, right? And I'm just smearing my fingers in kind of that angle in which it looks like the light is hitting the top left part of the rocks here. I hope that makes sense. That's always the most difficult thing to explain. Right, and I'm also not going to worry too much about the dip right here. We can leave that dip empty because we're going to add the waterfall there. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this portion. Let's grab some clear coat. Oh, so let me show you the other way that you can do this. You can use clear coat to re-wet the paint, and you can grab a knife. Or anything sharp, you can also use poster board as well for this. But what we can do is we could just carve out some of the rocks. Right, and once again I'm following that same rule. Right? So for this rock, where is that light hitting the rock? It's hitting that like top left area of that rock. So that's exactly where I'm carving. Right? And you can just kind of carve lines and stuff like that. So there's 2 easy ways to do highlights onto your rocks. Alright? 2 really easy ways. Now I think I'm going to go... I don't actually... Which one should we go with? Should we go with the carving or should we go with the finger painting? Carving? Okay. I like the carving as well. So let's go ahead and get rid of the finger painting. Let's just cover that up with black again. Most people like the carving. The carving is really bold, it's really bright, it's really awesome, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All I'm using is the knife here. And you can go ahead and, maybe we want little tiny rocks, right? So we could just make little bumps like that. Little tiny bumps, and then maybe some little bumps under that, right? So we have like a little stack of rocks. You can also carve out tree branches and all sorts of good stuff. So let's say that we want a tree branch, maybe like up here, coming out of the rock, actually. You can take your knife, we can just carve out a line, right? And we want these to be jaggedy, okay? Because that is what nature is. It's not perfect. It's very rarely perfectly straight or perfectly round. Okay, it looks crazy. But we can have like a little tree branch there. It's just lines, and then lines connected to the lines. Maybe we want another little, we can also make grass, right? So all we do for grass is we take the point of our, anything sharp, right? And we just kind of flick it up. Just flick it up and you can make little blades of grass. Cool? Right? Oh, really cool. The angle palette knife is one of the first tools that you should buy outside of like buying spray paint. But let's go ahead and keep carving out these rocks, right? I'm not thinking too much into it. If we think that we did too much at a certain point, that's fine. We can just smear it away. See? So let's go ahead and get this side out of the way. Now, as for what color it is, like when we're carving it, you see we have like that teal, and now we have like this orange or like red brown over here. It's because that was the first layer that we put down. We put down a lot of that turquoise, teal, blue, green, whatever the fuck it is, when we were doing this planet, and when we were making sure that we had some color in our ring. So that's why that is that color. So if you wanted all of these highlights to be yellow, that would have been the first color to put down here. All right? Well, let's go ahead and carve these out. Maybe you want like a little stack of pebbles right there. And then for this, remember, we're going to trace that light source, and it's kind of hitting like the top right part of these rocks over here. So that's where we're going to carve. Just take our knife, and I'm going to carve away at the top there. Remember, our waterfalls are going to go here, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. We actually want to leave that as dark as we can. Just leave some black space there, because we really want our waterfalls to pop. All right? Now also, for the best things, for the best look for your waterfalls, if you really want them to be bold and you really want them to be you really want them to pop, the black background, yes, but also let the paint dry. Let it sit there for a couple of minutes. So what we can actually do is we can move on to our water. And here's a different way to do water. Let's pick 2 colors here. Let's pick 2 colors here. Someone give it to me. And also go ahead and grab yourself a straight edge. If you don't have something like this, use a poster board. Alright, red. Red for sure. Okay. Grab that red. I see a lot of blue. I see that's one of the top things that I see. I see blue. Alright. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just cut off the bottom of these rocks here. We're gonna place this tool down completely, and we're gonna place these colors. And also keep in mind, I'm gonna try to put my lighter colors underneath our light source, which is that star. So we can actually just start off with white right there in the center. And then I think blue would actually be the next lightest. So I'm gonna go ahead and put blue right next to it. I'm just gonna move that over. We're gonna throw some red next to that. Now these colors don't make any sense, but that's perfectly fine. Now let's go ahead, and we're going to have to let those colors sit for a minute. Right, these are one of the, there's something, oh, it's very American, isn't it? Well, also like 10 other countries, or like fucking 50 other countries. But anyway, let's let the paint sit there for a second, right, and let it dry before we move on to the next step, because we want these to really work. Alright? So let's go ahead and move on to our waterfall, because this is pretty dry, right? It's dry enough. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a poster board. I know, shocking, right? We only use it for like every tool ever. But go ahead and rip yourself off a piece. It is a bomb pop, isn't it? Well, wasn't the whole point of bomb pops like the freedom colors? Like they were like these American like 4th of July things? At least that's how I remember them. I don't know. You want to grab a poster board though, and you want to make sure it has that flat edge to it. And we're going to take some white, and we're going to spray it to the side. Now what you want to do is you're going to take that flat side and you're just going to dip it in the white, like that. It's like a makeshift paintbrush. Paintbrush for poor people. That's what we've been calling it. Now I'm gonna get you guys down from the booster seat as well to give you guys a different view. But this is very simple. We take that flat edge that has that white, we go to the top, and we just drag our thing down. We just drag it down. Just drag it down, and you have a waterfall. All right? The best thing that I can tell you guys for this is to full send it. Slow and steady is what? It's a bunch of bullshit. They are pretty good, aren't I? I haven't had a bomb pop in forever, though. Maybe it's one of those things that was good as a kid, but disgusting now as an adult. All right, so let's see, right? We're just going to take this to the top of our rocks here and just drag it down. That's it. That's all we're going to do. You can drag it straight down, or you can add a curve, like I have like a little curve right there. You can do whatever, right? But that's how we do our waterfalls. You can definitely practice it. Might not get it the first time around, but they're not as difficult as you probably think they are. So maybe we want another little waterfall right there. I don't know. It's really easy to get carried away with these, actually, for real. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab another straight edge of some sorts. And, well, actually, let's do the water first before we do the splish splash. Okay? We'll do the water first. So let's go back to our straight edge. And let's cover up the bomb pop colors with black. Alright, so I'm just going to use my putty knife. I'm going to cut off the bottom of that land right there. We're just going to cover it up with black. Or any dark color really would work. Just going to cover this with black. Alright. And what you want to get is let's see. Here we go, I have one right here. You can use a putty knife, or you can just use poster. I actually prefer to use the poster board for stuff like this that has the flat edge to it. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to weigh this down because the painting is going to shift back and forth if we don't. So let's see what we can weigh it down with. We have this yellow can here. Hopefully that'll be enough. We're going to grab our clear coat, right? And I'm going to move you guys down a little bit. So make sure you guys can see that. We're going to hit the water with some clear coat. We're going to take this flat piece, this flat, sharp edge of this poster board, and we're going to put it down at the top, right? And I'm not holding it completely flat. Like, it's not like this, right? It's like this, if that makes sense. Like, my hand is the painting, and this is the tool. We kind of hold it like this, kind of at an angle, but we just want to make sure that sharp edge is making contact, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to hit it with more clear coat, if I can find it. You want to make sure that this paint is really wet. We're going to start from the top, and we're just going to swipe right, and we're going to move down ever so slightly and swipe left, and then swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, left, and just work our way down. So the color didn't come through as well as I was hoping, but it is there, and it is nice. So that is a really easy, well, I think it's easy. It might take a little bit of practice, but that's a really good way to get like a ripple, sort of like rough body of water. Yeah, this is a dope way to do water. Dope. Alright, so now let's go ahead and do our splish splash. We can keep our straight edge out, right? And we're going to take some white. Let me move this. And I'm going to demonstrate off painting first, before we dedicate ourselves. I'm going to hold the straight edge, and I'm going to hover right at the water line. That's where we're going to hold this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white, and I'm basically going to like flick up. We're just going to like flick up real quick, and we're going to get our splish splash like that, right? Maybe for the smaller ones you don't want as much splash, so just do a small little tiny flick. But that's how we're going to do this here. So let's go ahead and get this painting again. We can also add birds to this painting. Birds are really easy to do. So we have a little bit right here, just a small little flick of white, right? So we're just blocking off that body of water, and I'm not placing it down on the painting. You don't need to, right? Let's get another little splish splash right there. Another splish splash right there. Easy. Alright, and here's a way to do birds as well, because birds would look really nice here. So let's do a couple right there. Let's grab our clear coat again. You want to make sure that this paint is wet. Yeah, like a, well, Yeah, I think right here. I'm liking that idea. So let's clear coat that area. And I'll actually get you guys down from the booster seat for this. And like I say, we're gonna make a dope painting for our final painting, which is gonna be next. And we're gonna need to know how to do these waterfalls. We can also add birds. I'm gonna take something sharp. I'm just gonna use the point of my angled palette knife here. And these are just wonky V's. Okay, so we start from the center of the V, arch out for a wing. Okay? And then we go back to the center and just arch out a wing the other way. That's it. Okay, and you can make them wavy, you can make them straight up like that. Okay, so maybe we want like a wavy type thing. Like that. It's not that crazy, not that crazy. And then one thing I like to do as well is I like to just kind of go back to that center and drag my knife down, right, just to add a little body. Right? Just to give them a little thing. They're just wonky looking V's. Easy. And that is a pretty solid painting. That is a pretty solid painting. However, I like to add rocks in my water. So I'm going to add some black to the finger, and I'm just going to finger paint a rock right in there. I can't help it. Maybe I'll have another one right there. Now, whenever you have land meeting the water, you want to add some form of white. Now, we have the splish splash up here, and that's enough white. We don't need to do anything else. But we can use our waterfall tool for this. Get like an index card flat side, or poster board flat side, whatever it is. Spray some white to the side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take that white, or yeah, we're going to put the white on the flat side of that poster board. Oh, you can also carve them out and add highlights. We can do that after. I'm just going to, right where the land meets the water here, we're going to swipe in a line. Just swipe in a line. Right? These are little ripples, little white lines, and not the illegal kind. Right? Just like that. Very cool. So let's go ahead and add a little highlight. Someone mentioned a highlight for the rocks. Let's go ahead and hit it with some clear coat. Oops. And let's go ahead and carve in some little highlights. We're just going to trace along the outside of the rock. And I'm picking the top left because that is where the light from our light source is hitting that rock, right? Maybe just something tiny right there. And there we go. Come on, this is a solid painting. This is a solid one. We've learned a lot. For those of you who have been here since the beginning, and I am going to try to save this and post it on my YouTube, although TikTok has not liked me saving my lives lately. But we're going to hit it with one final layer of clear coat. I'm going to add a little bit more in the corner though, because that's where I saw my name. Right, quick little AV that looks like an N. And 2023 squiggle. Very cool. All right, so everything that we've learned so far, and we'll do a quick review. We'll do a quick look back at everything that we've done. All right, and also this final painting, I'm actually going to do it on canvas because it's going to look dope. But afterwards, I will answer any questions that you guys have at all. Alright, so let me get all of this shit lined up. And let's see where we've gone. Just this class. Everything that we've learned this class. So let's take this. Let me get you guys out of the booster seat. Oh, we can do an eclipse thing. We can do an eclipse thing. We're going to go crazy on this next one. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of room left. So that will go there. Alright. Look at where we started. We started with a single planet classic technique, which is the crumpled up newspaper magazine. Okay, you guys pick the colors and they work. Okay, it's the beauty of the space paintings. You can pick any colors and they work. We tried a new technique for the planet with the swiping with the flow. Swipe with the flow of the paint. Really cool. We learned how to do the galaxy. We learned how to do some silhouetted asteroids. Really cool. Really cool. We do beginner classes every Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. And then we learned how to do a city skyline. We also learned another technique for the planet, the swirly technique, one of my favorites. And we learned a new way to do a galaxy by just kind of swiping the paint together. We did some asteroids and highlighted them. We did our first water technique there. And now we've learned waterfalls. Okay, we also learned how to do the planet ring, the roll of tape planet, which I would love to see more people do in the spray painting community, because it is fucking slept on. Okay, and we've learned how to do water. All of these things we are going to put together now in one epic grand painting. Yeah, any questions that you guys have after this painting, I'm going to answer all of them. I have a hard time focusing or multitasking, so let's grab our canvas. Here we go. Now, if you guys are interested in using canvas over our glossy poster board, this is what I use. I just make sure I always buy mine pre-primed, because I am lazy and I will not prime a canvas myself. Absolutely. No, sir. Okay? So I get triple primed with acid-free, acrylic, gesso, blah, 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 blah. I get this from Hobby Lobby. Okay? It's the Master's Touch brand. Okay? But yeah, that's what you're going to need. Okay? If you want these techniques to work on canvas, you got to make sure that it's primed. And I will have to adjust you guys in your booster seat. And we can actually use the plastic in this painting. There's no need to throw it away right away, or throw it out right away. So let's put that to the side now. Now let's go ahead and adjust you guys so you guys can actually see. I might have to make you guys sideways. Let's see though. Let's see. No, we don't have to put you guys sideways. Okay, that's good. I'd rather have you guys like this. Okay. So let's go ahead and make a few planets in here. We're gonna do an eclipse. We'll do a tiny little eclipse. We'll do that. You know what? No. We won't do a tiny eclipse. We'll do a giant eclipse. We'll do a giant eclipse right there in the center. I can't help myself. Right? Just like that. I can already see it forming together in my head. Okay, this is going to be dope. Alright, and then let's get some smaller little planets. Maybe we'll have one right there, and then we'll have some really small ones over here. Now, like I said, plates, bowls, this came from like a lid from, I think it was like a can of peanuts or something like that. Or these are just the caps from the spray paint cans. Or you can use spray paint cans themselves, because guess what? They're circles. They are, unless you have some weird alien type brand, your cans are circles and they can be used as planet stencils, okay? So never think too much into it. I actually think I want one more small planet down here. You know what, we'll do the roll of tape method over here. I won't even use another stencil. So let's outline all of these. Okay. Right, and we outline them just so we know where to be putting this paint. So we already know what's happening here. What's happening here is we're just going to spray black down. Okay, I guess we can do that now. So I'm just going to fill this in with some black. We are going to have to touch up on it though, because the overspray from the other planets will inevitably get in here. But that's fine. Okay. We're almost out of that can, so hold on. We get another one. Okay. So let's do swiping techniques on these two planets over here, and then we'll do the swirly technique over here. So get me two. I want two colors for this planet over here. What do we got? I see purple. Ooh, silver. Let me see if I have silver paint. Those two colors are going to be dope. Alright, I haven't touched this silver can, and once again, probably since like 2019, but we're going to roll with it. We're going to hit one side with that silver. We're going to hit the other side with the purple. And I've never done this combo before, so this is pretty exciting. And let's go ahead and add some sort of neutral here. Let's just add, I'm thinking actually just some white. I think white would look really good here. Maybe just like a little blob of white. Okay. Now let's grab some clear coat. We're also going to grab some newspaper or magazine. We're not going to do anything crazy with it. We're just going to leave it the way it is. Clear coat. Rebut that paint. We're going to place this flat down. And you're going to take your hand and you're just going to spin the bitch around. Just spin her around. And then lift. That is actually a really cool color combo. That's really sick. Okay, so I'm seeing some other colors. I'm seeing green and blue. Where would I find those? What do you mean? The spray paint? When it comes to the spray paint, I recommend everyone goes to Blick. I see teal, I see orange, okay. Teal and orange, red, white. Okay. This is the closest thing to that. Teal, orange, I think I saw red, I think I saw white. And I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of swipe these colors together right here. So let's go for it. Let's do a little stripe of red. Let's do a little stripe of orange. Let's go that teal thingy-majiggy. And then I think I saw white. That was the first thing that I saw. Let's do white right there. Let's take some clear coat. And let's just kind of smear all of this together. Just like that. Just like that. I'm not even going to do anything crazy. Just like that. Let's put these back. And let's do the shading and highlighting now. So there's actually not a ton of overspray in here, so that's good, that's great. For our clips, we're not going to do any shading or highlighting because it's all black and that's the whole point of it. So let's go ahead and cover her up. If I could, there we go. Just going to place this stencil down. We want to make sure that it's completely filled up, right? We get all that black. Oh, I actually forgot to do the city color. That's fine. We could do the city somewhere else. We'll do cities down here or something like that. Alright, so let's do the shading and highlighting for the other stuff though. For these smaller planets, what we're going to do is we're going to use a poster board. We just tore off a piece of poster board. And we're going to go ahead and curve it, right? So we're going to curve it so it's like a smiley face. See? Smiley face. Right? And let's say that this eclipse is our light source. We'll just say that this entire thing right here is going to be our light source. That means that for this planet, our highlight is going to be right here. It's going to be on the side of the planet that's closer to that light source. So let's go ahead and we're going to spray some white right onto this tool. We're going to curve it like a smiley face, spray that white down, and it will give us that really nice controlled white highlight. And we're going to do the same thing over here real quick. So for this, remember this whole thing's our light source right in the middle here, which means that the right side of these planets will get the highlight. So let's do a little smiley face. Let's spray our white in our tool, right on our tool. We're going to spray that white down. It gives us that nice controlled smiley face right there. Right, so for you guys who are struggling with the handling, and it's perfectly fine, perfectly normal, this is a way around that. Also, if you have those smaller planets. And we're going to do the shading the same exact way. I just want to make sure that we get the size right. I'm just spraying some black onto that tool. And we're getting that nice little defined line. And I think that looks pretty good there as well. Okay. And we'll do the same thing over here. I actually think I can freehand this one. So when you're freehanding it, remember, you don't want it to be too close. You want to pull back your can, find your distance, so you get that nice cloudy, misty type of effect. All right, everyone's is different, but just find your distance and make smiley faces. Smiley faces. We're going to work our way into that planet just a little bit. And there we go. We have our shading, we have our highlighting. Now, as always, you should let this dry. However, as always, I don't do that. So, we're going to place those down. Make sure you get that shading. Make sure you get that highlighting. Now, what color should our cities be? All right, ooh, okay. I think I found a way to do this. Let's get a few colors for our city. Let's get a few. I actually have a list of all of the tools that I use. You can go to my YouTube, which is just my name, Amethyst Vasquez. I made a video like last week, and it's everything that I use with links to the exact listings that I buy from. Okay, so if you guys are curious about that, definitely check that one out. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of stuff here. I'm seeing a lot of, you guys are obsessed with purple today. I'm also pink. Okay, I see a lot of pink. Okay, so pink is definitely one of the colors that we're using. I'm also seeing a lot of gold. I'm liking it, I'm liking it. I like the idea of maybe like gold, silver, and we see pink. I see that yellow again a lot. Okay, pink for sure. You guys are all over pink. All right. I'm seeing a lot of, okay, so gold, silver, purple, and pink, because that's what I'm seeing the most of. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab those 2 pans again. Now, since this is the color that I want these cities to be, this is why I'm placing these colors first, okay? We're placing these colors down. My canvas is sticking to my table. Oh dear, there we go. So I'm going to have the city, I think I'm going to have a whole city like underneath this eclipse and over here on the side. So let's go ahead and place these colors. We have this gold, let's place some of this gold here. And let's have it fade into silver. So we're just going to spray some silver down. We're not going to worry too much about it. Don't worry about being precise. Just kind of get the colors down, right? And then I've seen a lot of pink. So let's go. I'm actually going to do 2 pinks here. Well, if you count magenta as pink. Okay. Because the actual pink that I have is really light. Okay, like that is basic. That almost looks white. So we're going to do 2 pinks here. We're going to do that pink. We're going to do this magenta. And then we'll add some purple in there. Those are great colors anyway. Right, just getting those colors down. And I think I just want a little bit more gold. Just like that. I think this is going to look sick. I really do. I think this is going to look crazy good. Alright? And I just want to make sure that you guys can see. Should I put you guys sideways? Would that be better? Should I just put you guys sideways? I'm thinking that's the move, right? No, yeah, okay, fuck, alright. Never mind. Sideways is weird, that's what I was thinking, but it can be difficult to see everything that's going on with the way that we have it, hot dog style. Out of curiosity, do teachers in school still call it that, hot dog style? Okay. So now that we have our colors for our city, let's go ahead and actually, I'm trying to think, do we do a galaxy? I don't think we have a whole lot of space for a galaxy, so let's just fill this up with black, alright? Make sure to get around your stencils really nice. That's the first thing that we always want to do. And we're just going to fill this up completely with black. It doesn't need to be perfect because we're going to add a lot of color to this. We're going to add a lot of color, so it doesn't need to be a solid black. But just get most of it. Make sure you get around those stencils. I also want to make sure that I get the sides of my canvas. You could do this after, but it is just easier to do it during. Alright, I think we got around the stencils pretty good. I can't really see because of the sun, but there we go. Okay. What kind of spray paint works best for you? I like hardcore, but it's all personal preference. Don't think too much into it. Alright, so we're going to do yellow, we're going to do orange for sure. Well, let's get some darker colors. Let's get some darker colors than yellow and orange. Yeah, definitely, because I want this to kind of maybe look like an eclipse, black hole sort of thing. So we're going to use yellow and orange. I see purple, I see blue. Let's go for it. So I'm going to start with my darker, which I think my purple is one of my darker. Remember, we're going to pull back this can, right? We're not going to hold it too close, and we're just going to add some purple around the edges of our canvas here. Right, just around the edges. So let's go ahead, and we're holding this can pretty far away. And you can hear that. Listen to how we're doing this. We're not just holding it down like that. No, just little bursts, okay? Let's get some blue in here. My dark blue and my purple look way too similar. And we also want to make sure that we get around those stencils if we can. And this is really bright already, but that's fine because we can add some black. I mean, I can try to add the blue, but it looks way too similar to my purple. I think the description lied and it called it blue, and it just wasn't. So, alright. And then let's add, we're actually going to go ahead and add the black now. So let's go ahead and darken this up a little bit. And we're going to hold our can, we're going to pull our can back a little bit, but let's add some black to darken that back up a little. Just a bit too bright, right? Just a little bit. Alright. Now let's go ahead and do our orange. And I want to get pretty close to this center right here, right? This is going to be our eclipse, so I'm going to basically spray my, whoops. We're going to make sure that this can is alright. The can is alright. Basically, I'm going to just spray along the outside of this planet stencil here. And we're going to get even closer with the yellow. So let's go ahead and add that yellow, and we're just going to go ahead and basically kiss, just kiss the stencil. Alright, we don't really want to put this yellow anywhere else. This is the light source, remember that, right? That's why we went darker to lighter. I think it's easier to do it that way. I think it's easier to do the darker around the edges first, and then kind of work our way in. But maybe for you, you'll find it to be the opposite. Maybe you'll like it the other way. Alright, and we can even add a little bit of white to this as well. Although I don't think I'm going to do too much. Maybe just little. No, actually I don't like that at all. We're getting rid of it. Okay. Now let's do our stars, right? So our stars are easy. Easy. Spray the white on the finger. We're going to flick to the side 1, 2, maybe 3 times, and then flick onto your painting. We flick to the side first because we want to get rid of those blobs, right? I really wish I had that hologram glitter, because that would look sick. And we're going to add lots of comets, and I think we might add some bigger stars. But these colors look great. And the colors don't necessarily need to go together. I think a lot of times people think if you want to fade colors together like we just did, that you need to go in a certain order, like right next to each other on the color wheel sort of thing. So a lot of people would just go yellow, orange, red, and then like dark red, or like maybe like a brown or something like that. But you don't need to, okay? The yellow and the orange go together, but then we just went complete opposite, complete contrast to the blue. But it fades together so nicely, right? It looks really good. Okay, so don't worry too much about colors. You can think about colors and color theory if you want to, but fuck that, dude. Fuck that, alright? All the space painting should just be about fun. It shouldn't be stressful. Alright, so what should we do here? Should we add some comets? I think we should add some comets. Oh, I actually forgot. Since we're not doing our galaxy, we don't need this plastic. Which is fine. I think the galaxy would be too much. Alright, but it was in the original plan. Alright. So let's add some comets. Let's grab some poster board. It has a flat edge, so this is my scrap poster. Big thing. And I'm just going to go ahead and tear off a piece that has that flat side to it. Right, so we actually have 2 sides here that work. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to actually choose the bigger side here. We're going to kind of folder. We're not going to pinch down too much, but we want to have that opening right there. You see how that has that sort of opening like that? That's how we're going to do our comets. When we flip it around, right, it looks like a funnel. That's what we're going to go for. You guys should definitely try this. I am going to try to download this replay and post it on YouTube, but like I said, TikTok just doesn't like me doing that most of the time. So there we go. That is how we're going to do our comets. If you want your comets to be opened towards the end, you want to focus your finger pressure there towards the bend, just like that. If you want them to be closed, like I like to have mine closed, you focus the pressure more towards the back and you close it. That's all. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to treat it like a funnel. We're going to spray some white on the inside of here while hovering right above our canvas. Remember, just a centimeter or 2 right above the canvas. I actually want these to be tinier, so I'm going to pinch down just a little bit more. And there we go. We have some tiny little comets over there. And I'm going to get you guys down from the booster seat to get a better look at that. Maybe we want... My canvas is sticking to my table, so I can't really move it. Maybe we want some that go up this way. Just like that. Maybe we want some up here that go this way. And maybe I'll open them up a little bit so they're longer. Just like that. Really cool. I think I do the same amount every time, so let me make a bunch over here. Just to add a little bit of variety. That's pretty cool. And also keep in mind this tool will drip every once in a while, so you gotta wipe it off. Okay. And I think at this point we can go ahead and lift these up. Whoops. That is actually really cool. That's really sick. Okay. So let's put that down here on my little cart. We're done with that for the day. Go ahead and lift this one up. That looks dope. Put that on the cart. We're done with that for the day. Lift these two up. Those look sick. And so far, this looks really good, actually. Okay, this looks really, really good. I'll try to post them on my TikTok later. All right. So I was gonna do like a glare, like a star sort of thing, but I'm not sure about it. I really like the way that it looks right now. So let's just get on with the finger painting, because that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna do some finger painting. So how do we want to do this? My original plan was we were going to do a city in the middle of the eclipse, but I forgot to put that color down first. So we're going to work around this eclipse with the city down here, but we're going to, obviously the city needs to be on something, so we're going to make some floating islands. Grab your black. You can spray the black off to the side. You could just spray it directly on your fingers and just finger paint some land, right? I usually start pretty flat at the top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers and I'm just going to like kind of drag my fingers down, right? Because I want it to look like this piece of land was basically like ripped straight from the ground, straight from a planet, right? So we have all of these rocks, all of these roots kind of hanging from the bottom. Just like that. And I think, how do I want to do this? We'll have another little one down here. I think we just need to stop thinking and go for it, right? And then we can go ahead and add like mountains and valleys up top, but I usually just start flat. All right, so maybe we want like a little something like that. Let's say we want right here, we're going to add a city right there. Just dragging my finger down to kind of make these roots. I'm just spraying some black on there. I'm just dragging my fingers down. Let's say that there's maybe like a canyon, valley sort of thing. I almost don't want to add cities there, but we already did the color. And we're just going to add a bunch of other little islands. So maybe we'll have one right here, kind of like in front of the eclipse. And we can add all sorts of highlights and colors to them. We can add grass, right? It's not that hard. All right, and maybe some little ones right up here. This is just finger painting. It's nothing crazy. And I think I just want little asteroids, so maybe I'll just boop my finger, right? And then I think I want one final thing right up here. I can't even really see that one, but I'm sure it looks good. Oh, this is looking pretty good so far. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our cities, right? We don't want this paint to dry too much, so let's grab our clear coat. Remember, it's all we're using. You don't need to mute any Superman comments. I don't know what people are on about, but it's fine. We're just going to re-wet this whole area here. We're going to make our city. Actually, what I think I'm going to do first is highlight those asteroids, and we're also going to make a city over here. So let's go ahead and re-wet that area using the clear coat. So remember, to make the city, angled palette knife is the best, metal angled palette knife. If you don't have this, just fold up a piece of poster board to give it a little bit more strength and make sure it has that flat edge to it. Alright, and I think we're going to go alien city again, right? We're not going to go anything crazy. And we're just going to scrape this paint across. And all of this gold is coming through right now. And it looks pretty sick. Let me get you guys out of the booster seat. I'm about to get a ton of paint on my phone case. Oh my god, it's going to be gross. Right? So all I'm doing is I'm taking the flat side of the knife here, just placing it down, and we're scraping paint, right? And this silver is coming through. We have that gold coming through. That's why those colors were important at the beginning. Right? And we're just kind of scraping some little buildings in. You can make them pointy, you can make them boxy. You do whatever you want. And there we go, we have a little city over there. I'm going to add a little squiggle, of course. Can't help myself. Let's go over here. We might need a little bit more clear coat, so let's grab that. Just going to re-wet this whole area right here. And I like the idea of adding a bridge. That is what this is what I had in mind. I think I'm going to add a bridge right there, or at least I'm going to try to. It might look a little wonky, but you know what? We're going to make it work. So let's do another one. Let's say we want a really tall building, and look, that magenta, and that pink, and I think we had red over here. Did we, or was it purple? We had something over here. I can't remember, but all of those colors are coming through right now. Let's say we want a building right here. Just scraping my knife across. You can make your buildings 3D if you want to. I usually don't do that though. I just think it's a lot of work, and usually they don't look as good as you might think they do. Okay. Okay, so we have another little city right there, and I'm not even going to add a squiggle to that one. I really like that. I really like that. Oh, we're going to do waterfalls. Don't you worry. We're going to add waterfalls. Alright, so how are we going to go ahead and do this? Maybe we'll add other little rocks here as like the supports for the bridge. And then I want this bridge to go all the way across. Alright, so let's add more clear coat right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my knife, and I'm basically just going to kind of use the point right there. Just the tip, the point. And just swipe it across like that. That looks pretty cool. Alright. And then we're going to need the supports. So we're going to have to make, right, we'll make the beam thing supports right there. Add a little line. And then we're going to have to add more. So maybe we'll add just, we'll add 3 maybe. We'll just add 3. So let's have another one right here. I'm just going to kind of swipe across, make these little supports, right? We're going to connect the supports. We can add little X's. That's at least the bridges that I know, right? They have little X's in there for the supports. And then let's grab some more black. I'm going to spray to the side here. I'm just going to dip my finger in here. And we're going to add supports right here. So we're going to need something for them to stand on. We'll just say that there's another little island right here. Right? And we're going to add grass and all sorts of good stuff right after. We're probably going to need more clear. And then we're going to add the cables. So I might have to wipe my knife off. Just like that, right? And we'll add the little cables right after. I want to add the little X's in there. Now let's go ahead and add the wires, right? Now I'm just going to use the point right here to my knife. Just like that, nothing crazy. See, that was a pretty cool idea. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back, for that, because I like it. I like it. For it to just be a line though, the line would look weird just on its own. So let's go ahead and add the cables that are in between. And I'm not gonna worry too much about this. We're just gonna kind of swipe some lines in there. Oh, and we forgot to go this way as well. Really cool. Okay, this was a really cool idea. I've never done it quite like this before. But I hope you guys understand the cities. Right, because they're super common, super popular, and I think people think they're complicated when they're not. Alright. So let's go ahead and add some grass. And we're also going to add water and stuff, but we'll do that later. So let's go ahead and add some grass. Now I recommend that you have synthetic sponge for this. I know we haven't used this yet, but it's the best thing to use when it comes to leaves. Right? It's like a foamy type of material. Think those foam brushes that you can pick up for like a quarter a pop. It's basically that type of material. I think they might call it grouting sponge on Amazon. I think is the listing that I buy from. They call it grouting sponge. That's what this is. If you don't have it, you can use newspaper. Crumple up a newspaper really thin, really small like, and you can use that for grass. All right, but what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna spray directly onto the sponge. I'm gonna spray some yellow up top, and then I'm gonna spray some green right below it. So we have something like that. Okay, I had to do it off. I didn't want to accidentally get overspray on there. But that's what we got. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap. I'm going to tap underneath these cities ever so lightly. Don't need to use a whole lot of pressure. Right, and we're going to add grass to all of these islands actually, or at least most of them. Right, and the reason that you can go green on like a lighter green, but I think that green and yellow is the best for this. I fucking hate both of those colors, but together they're glorious. Alright, so let's go ahead and add more grass right underneath. I'm just tapping. Tap really lightly. I'm barely touching the canvas. Barely touching it. And we're going to come to where the edge of our kind of islands are. And then you can also make vines and stuff. I like to make vines coming off of the islands. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's add some green. And then you see how we kind of have that sharper kind of side? That's what we're going to be using to make these vines. You can also just use like a poster board or a palette knife. But I'm just going to tap down a little bit. Alright, and we're going to add all of these little vines. I'm tapping super light, okay? They don't need to go down all the way either, they can just hang off a little bit. I think we need to add a little bit more green. I'm just spraying it directly on the sponge. If you want, you can spray it off to the side, and I will show you guys how to do that in a second. So, because there's two ways to do that. You could spray it directly on the sponge, or what you guys can do is, whoops, you can spray off to the side. I'll just use this poster board here. What you can do is just spray the green down in a stripe like that, and then you can grab the yellow and just spray right next to it, like that, and then dip your sponge in like that. Okay, so the top of the sponge is going to get the yellow, and we're just going to kind of pat that in. And that is another way that you can do that if you don't want to spray directly on there. And we're just going to tap, 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 right there. I think we have an island up there. Tap, 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 tap. Maybe a little bit right there. Tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. As much as I hate the color green, it looks great on these islands. Let's add little vines, and I'm just touching ever so lightly, Okay, we're just using that corner piece, that kind of sharper side, and we're just tapping, tap, 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 tap. And let's add a few more up here. This is looking great. This is actually looking like a top 10 painting from Amethyst of all time. That's it. Okay, so what else can we do here? We're gonna add waterfalls. We're gonna add waterfalls here. So I'm thinking, where can we do this? I'm thinking let's have like a little lake over here, and then we're gonna have a waterfall come off, and maybe we'll make a like another little island here and have it crash into that. Maybe, or no, forget that. We'll just have like a little lake and then waterfall coming off the island. All right. So let's grab yourself a little piece of poster board that has a flat edge, right, and just rip yourself off a piece. That's it. Right, little makeshift paintbrush. We're gonna spray some white to the side. Right, and I'm gonna dip this in the white, that flat side. Right, and we're just gonna start here, and I'm just gonna squiggle. Just squiggle these lines in for a little lake. I'm not even gonna get rid of the green or rid of the grass. None of that. I'm just gonna kind of start from the city. Maybe we have the river coming from the city. So maybe I'll have that stream coming from there. Maybe we'll have the lake stretch over there a little bit. And then it's gonna fall off right there. All we do is we have that little flat side and we just drag it down real quick. Full send it. Don't think too much about it, full send it. And that's how we make our little waterfalls. Maybe we want one on this city as well. Fuck it. Oh, we'll have them both. I'm just gonna squiggle some white lines in there for a little lake. I'm just kind of squiggling my way down. That's it. And then we're going to have it drop off. So let me get you guys out of the booster seat so you can see that better. Oh. Ah, everything's sticky. Out of the booster seat, you. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Fucking hell, that was a trek. That was an absolute trek. We're taking that flat side, and we're just dipping it in the white, like that. And then we come to the top here. Let me see if I can get you guys at that angle. Just drag it down. You just drag it, full send it, slow and steady is what? It's a bunch of bullshit. That is exactly right. It is a bunch of BS. That's it. And we're just kind of swiping, smearing. Right, and we can add the splish splash in a minute. Very cool. Perfect. Back to the booster seat. Oh no, this hasn't even been listed on my website yet. Once it's done and once the live stream's over, I'll go on my website, which the link for that is in my bio. All right. What else can we do here? Oh, we can do little birds. We can do a couple birds. Why not? Let's grab some clear coat. A couple of things I actually want to do here. I want to highlight these asteroids here. So let's hit those with clear coat. And then we have some over here. Let's hit those with clear coat. And then I think I want some birds. I want some birds up here. I'll hit that with clear coat. And that's it for now. Okay? So for the asteroids, floating rocks, all I'm going to do is use the point of my palette knife. And I'm going to trace along the outside of our little boops that are closer to the light source, which our light source is just this giant like eclipse right here. So I'm just going to trace along the top right side of this one. Right, it's going to make a line, and then I'm going to make a couple of lines inland, or not inland, but in the circle, in the blob. Right here, we're going to do the same thing. Now over here on these ones, it's going to be on the left side, because the left side of these asteroids is what's closer to our light source over here. So I'm just going to carve out that side. Right, make some little lines inside of it. Love it, love it. Okay, so also let's make our birds. Easy. Easy. We could do a little, I don't want to add a little rocket ship. I think it'll look out of place here. We already have a lot going on. We start from the center of the bird, arch a wing out. Okay, and then we go back to the center, you just drag your knife out the other way. Okay, and we can go back to the center, just drag it down a little bit for a body. Right, we can make these wings wavy, or we can make them straight up, we can make them whatever. So we can have it like wings that are straight up like that, and now we have our little birds. And I want to add more of those. I want to add more little birds. But this painting is already looking really good. It's really looking really complete. We can... Okay, I'm seeing a lot about a tree. We can do a tree. We can. Okay, I don't think it's completely beginner, but we tend to do this every single beginner class where we get carried away and we do things that are not so beginner friendly. So let's go for it. Okay, so let me go ahead and add a few more birds. I'm just going to add some clear coat there to redo that bird. And then I want some birds right here. And right here. I can't help it. I love them. Just wonky looking bees. And I said right here, right? I think so. Perfect. Maybe these birds would be bigger. Maybe they'll be closer to us. And then I just like to go back to the center and just drag my knife down, kind of in random directions to make the body. I don't think too much into it, but it's always a nice touch to kind of add that. Alright, so let's go ahead and make a tree. We can also make a tree just using this. We're not going to do a UFO. The UFO is going to look out of place in this. Or a spaceship, or whatever we're calling it today. Make sure that's clear coat. Let's go ahead and add a tree right here. I'm going to hit it with some clear coat. And I actually like the idea of making this like a pink tree, so I'm going to use pink colors. All I'm going to do is, I'm going to start from the top of the tree actually and just make a swiggle down. And I'm going to put more pressure towards the bottom because I want it to be thicker. When we put more pressure down, more of the knife is making contact with our canvas. So therefore it's scraping more paint away. So we have our main trunk and now we're just going to add lines to it, right? And lines connected to the lines. And so on. And I think that looks like a pretty good start. Let's add the leaves now. So actually we're going to use this. We're going to use the synthetic sponge again for this. We can use that side, that's fine. Let's spray some black to the side. We'll just spray some black right there. Just going to go ahead and coat this up. And then I like the idea of maybe actually blue and pink. Blue and pink sounds like a really good idea. I'm going to tap ever so gently at the tops of these branches. Gently, gently. You don't need to use too much pressure. And then we're going to go ahead and add the color of the highlights. You don't really have to worry about that because it's in the eclipse. Maybe we'll have another one right there. Okay? And we'll actually add some pink and blue at the bottom of the tree because, you know, like the leaves would fall off, you know? So let's go ahead and get that going. I really like the idea of pink and blue. I don't know why. I'm obsessed with this right now. So I'm thinking a dark blue. Oh, I think my dark blue is basically purple. That is purple, is it not? Oh, is this the blue? Did I have it in the wrong spot? Okay, well that's good. I'm going to go with that dark blue. And then we're going to go with a pink. I'm going to go with this blue pink. And I'm going to spray it right on top of each other, right next to each other like that. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to get a new sponge. I want a fresh sponge for this. Oh, I don't want to use one of my good ones. Here we go. I'm just going to go ahead, and the top of the sponge here is what's going to get the pink. So I'm just going to kind of coat this in, make sure that top is the pink. It's basically going to come out purple, isn't it? That's a shame. I really wanted like a blue-pink sort of thing going. But this is what we got, and I'm just going to tap ever so gently right over these leaves. Right, and we got the, oh, it's like a light purple. It actually looks pretty cool. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and add that at the bottom of the tree as well. Just a little thing. Alright. I was going to add a lighthouse to this, but I can't imagine where we would put one. But then again, I think the lighthouse would be too much. This one is so, like, serene. It's so perfect. Let's add a bit of a mist to these waterfalls, so what I'm going to do is take a straight edge. I'm just going to use a putty knife for this. And I'm going to hover right above, and I'm going to spray the white onto the knife itself. Onto the knife. So we're hovering right above this painting, maybe holding this tool like a centimeter above. Alright? Now I'm actually, right here, I'm going to hold it the other way, cut off the land here, and I'm just going to spray a little bit of white right there for some splish splash. And I guess this way as well for that waterfall. Alright, this is looking really solid. Oh, yeah, I couldn't see that one. Oh well. Yeah, sideways probably would have been better for the hot dog style. Alright, Okay, I guess let's try to do it again real quick. All we do is when we want to do the splish splash of the waterfalls, we just kind of hold the knife, we cut off the land, and we just spray some white onto the tool. Sometimes you can flick up, although this is really small, so we're not going to do any flicking. We're just spraying some white onto the tool, and it's adding that splatter there, right? And you can also do it up and down, so we can hold our knife up and down and spray the knife to add sort of like a misty sort of thing in our waterfall. Looks really cool. I think we're about done though. Like, I think that is basically it. We have a lot going on. And I think, thank you guys for any gifts that you guys sent. I think this is like, we don't want to do too much, you know? We don't want to do too much. Now when it comes to my canvases, I like to use triple thick glaze. Rust-Oleum has some, Krylon has some, but it's great. It is fantastic. It's way better than normal clear coat, and I always save it for my canvases. So let's give it that one final layer. I'm gonna make it as even as I possibly can. Just gonna work our way down. It's glossifying everything. It's also clearing up a lot of overspray. Let's actually go the other way too and make sure we get all of it. All right, and let's go ahead and just sign our name. I think we'll sign our name right about there. Add a little bit of clear coat just so we re-wet that paint. I'd like to put the year 2023 and a nice squiggle. And that is really solid. That is a really solid painting. So this looked pretty sick. All the planets turned out really good. We learned a lot today, and I will show the other paintings that we learned. Right, we learned all of these techniques separately in our previous 4 paintings I think we did.